Hey grade 11s, here is today's video. It will be on pages, I can't remember the exact pages, like 175, 176, something like that, 174, I don't know. It's the key to the addition and subtraction work. You won't see a lot of work on it because the work takes up a lot of room, so it's mostly just the answers. But if any of you come to a meeting, and I know I didn't have a meeting yesterday, I apologize, but they moved our staff meeting to that time because it's usually scheduled in the afternoon, but we have our classroom sessions then. So anyway, I've got the answer. If you come to a meet, I can go through them with you, okay? So let's get down to it. Alright, everything highlighted is an answer. So you can see I have some work over here, highlighted stuff. Just give me a second because I can't see my little pen highlighter. And I do like to have that going, so... There we go. Okay, so there's all my all the answers there. I'll let it sit there for a minute, although of course you could pause to check. There is F and G, so you can see I've got a bit of work there. And everything else just highlighted. And notice I'm not doing non-permissible values. Like you should be able to do that on your own. And there's E, it never got highlighted. And the next page, there they are, ABC. There's A and B. B is really hard, so you may want to give that a look. And there's the last couple. So once again, you can come to a meeting and ask about any of them. Okay, so let's get down to today's stuff. Today's stuff is page 177, solving rational equations. Now, we have not been solving, we have been simplifying. So let me show you what I mean. Simplify is this. X squared plus 7x plus 12. You simplify that, and it becomes x plus 3, x plus 4. Now, it hasn't been solved because you still have an unknown. You don't know what x is. Now, to solve, if this was x squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0, then we would simplify first to x plus 3, x plus 4 equals 0, and then we know x has to equal negative 3 or negative 4. That is the solving part, and we haven't done that. So an equation, you remember, because we're not just doing expressions, we're doing an equation. An equation is when there is an expression that's equal to another expression. What our job is to find the unknowns that satisfy that equation. And believe me, it's not hard. You know how to do it. We simply solve rational equations by doing everything that we already do. Step 1, we simplify by factoring. Where do we factor? Everywhere we can. Simplify by factoring everywhere we can, and by canceling. Guess what? Everywhere we can. The next thing we have to do, we do need to check our NPVs. Why? Because our answers may not work. 3, and I'll try to keep the colors going. Combine your terms appropriately. What do you mean by that, Mr. Myers? Well, if it's an add or subtract equation, then we got to find a lowest common denominator. If it's multiply, we just got to cancel. If it's divide, we got to reciprocate and then cancel. And finally, solve for x. Solve for x, or solve fox. And then lastly, check. It takes 2 seconds. Alright, so here we go. It's not hard. You'll be able to do it. So the first thing I said to do is simplify with factoring. Do you see any common factors there? Of course not. So number 1, no factors. That's the first step I got to look at. Can I make it any simpler? Number 2, I better check my NPVs. NPVs are in the denominator here. Because it's a subtraction sign, there's no division, so I don't have to check both. So our denominator, x cannot equal 0. So when I do all my work, if x equals 0, this equation has no solution. Number 3, let's combine our terms. So, since I am subtracting, I need a lowest common denominator. My lowest common denominator lives right there. So it's 4x. Now, this guy had a 4. Did he have an x? No. So I got to multiply this guy by x. So now I've got x squared minus, this guy had a 4, or sorry, this guy had the x, so he needs a 4. So that's 28 equals 3 over 1. Now, I needed a common denominator here, so I need a common denominator here. This too was 1, but it needs to be 4 over x. So I got to multiply this by 4x. So my 3 becomes 12x. Now, stop for a second. Remember back whenever you learn this, I don't know, but if you had x over 4 equaled 3 over 12, how would you solve that? You'd multiply that by that by that, and figure it out. 12x would equal 12, and then you divide by 12, and x would equal 1. So in this case, that's when you had different denominators. But if I had 2 over 4 equaled x over 4, multiply that out. 4 times 2 is 8, equals 4 times x is 4x, x equaled 2. Notice that x equaled 2. So when I have the same denominator on both sides of the equal sign, I don't need it. So let's come back to where we are now. Do I need this for x? No, I don't. So what I have now is x squared minus 28. This is number 4 up there. This is solve for x. And usually that means get rid of denominators. Not get rid of, I want to say that. Forget the denominators. And I showed you why over here. X minus 28 equals 12x. Now you know how to solve these. X squared, bring that over. Minus 12x minus 28 equals 0. You know how to solve that. You factor it. X plus 2, x minus 14 equals 0. So x has to equal negative 2 and positive 14. And you can check it if you want. If x is negative 2, negative 2 divided by 4 is negative 1/2. 7 divided by negative 2 is negative 3.5. Negative 1/2 minus 3.5 is negative 1/2 minus plus 3.5, which is 3. So negative 2 works. 14 over 4 is 3.5 minus 7 over 14, which is a half. 3.5 minus 3. 3.5 minus a half is 3. So 14 works. And that's all you do. It's all math you already know. So let's go to here. Step 1, factor. Where can we factor? We can factor here, here. So we do that. 2 over z, I shouldn't have used z, z plus 2, z minus 2, plus 10 over 6, z plus 2 equals 1 over z minus 2. Now, I need that common denominator. What is it? So this is, sorry, I didn't do my NPVs yet. X cannot be plus or minus 2 right there, and that covers there and there. So number 3, combine your terms appropriately. This is adding, so I better get a common denominator. What is my common denominator? 6, z plus 2, z minus 2. What does this guy have? He's got the z plus 2, the z minus 2. He's missing 6. This guy is missing z minus 2. And this guy is missing a 6 and z plus 2. So then you sort it out. 12 plus 10z minus 20, right? Actually, let's not do it that way. Let's keep it cool. Z minus 2, and I'll show you why in a sec, equals 6z plus 2. Right? Now, what do I get to forget about? Right, the denominator. So now I can solve for x. So I can get rid of that. And now I have 12 plus 10 z minus 2 equals 6 z minus 2. Now I solve. 12 plus 10 z minus 20 equals 6 z minus 12. Solve it all. Bring all the z's to one side. 4z equals 12 minus 20 is negative 8. Bring that over here. It becomes positive 8. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. Oops, sorry, screwed that up. This is 6z plus 12. There we go. Sorry. 12 and 12, same on both sides, cancel. 4z, because I bring that 6 over here, equals 20. Bring that 20 over there. Z equals 5. There's my answer. And then 5, of course, I check it. Now, I would check it right there. Because it's not our non-permissible value, I only need to check it up top. What is 5 minus 2? Well, that's 3. What is 5 plus 2? Well, that's 7. 10 times 3 is 30. 30 plus 12 is 42. What's 6 times 7? 42. Does 42 equal 42? It does in my world. There we go. All right, let's try C. Holy crap. But we're smart. We'll figure it out. 1. Factor it. Where do you see factoring? Well, you should see factoring there and there. So let's make it so. 4k minus 1 over k plus 2 minus k plus 1 over k minus 2 equals k minus, let's see, does that factor? Factors of 24 that add to 4. 8 and 3, no. 6 and 4, no. 2 and 12, hey, that doesn't factor. You sneaky question. That didn't factor, even though it looked like it would. But this one factors. K plus 2, k minus 2. So there we go. What are our NPVs? That's number 2. K cannot equal plus or minus 2. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, let's tidy this up. What's our common denominator? Well, it's obviously k plus 2, k minus 2. So what does this guy need? This guy needs k minus 2. What does this guy need? K plus 2. What does this guy need? Nothing. So, this is going to get crazy. This is going to give us 4k squared minus 9k plus 2. That's this guy. Minus k squared plus 3k plus 2 equals k squared minus 4k plus 24. Now I get to solve by forgetting the denominator. So 4k minus 4k squared minus k squared is 3k squared. Negative 9k minus 3k is negative 12k. 2 minus 2 is 0 equals k squared minus 4k plus 24. Now, just like always, we've got to get our letters isolated. So I've got 2k squared, so I got to bring him over here. So I end up with 2k squared. I got to bring that 4 over. Minus 8k minus 24 equals 0. This factors 2k squared minus 4k minus 12 equals 0. Are there factors of 12 that add to 4? Of course there are. It's 2k squared minus, or not k squared, you idiot, k minus 6, k plus 2 equals 0. So k has to equal 6 and negative 2. Then, of course, I check number 5, because there's step 3. There's step 4. Step 5, I check. This one's real easy to check because -2. Hey, wait a minute, k isn't allowed to be -2. So that is not an answer. It is what we call, you remember this word, we've used it before, an extraneous root. It doesn't really count. So the real answer is 6. And of course we can check it in any of these, right? But it's probably best to check it before we've done any factoring in case we screwed up. K squared is 36. 3 times 36 is 108. Minus 12 times 6 is 72. 108 minus 72 is 36. 6 squared is 36. Minus 4 times 6 is 24. 36 minus 24 is 12. 12 plus 24 is 36. 36 equals 36, so 6 is correct. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You will want to do page 178. I, of course, will have a key for that visible to you Friday. Okay? I don't think I'm going to do another quiz on this. I might do a quiz on adding and subtracting and solving, but I don't know. I'll let you know. Okay? Have good days. Bye-bye.